How to scale to $100,000 per month. What is up, guys? Zach Ginn here.
Rick Ginn here.
And we just finished up a 3-day, $100K per month scaling event in wholesaling real estate. We did 3 days of live trainings on exactly how to effectively scale your real estate operations so you could actually make millions of dollars per year, going from making 50, 60, 70, 100K to literally making millions of dollars per year while literally working 5 hours a week. And what we wanted to do today is condense that 3-day event and show you exactly the systems you need to be doing, the business structure you need to be doing in a real estate wholesaling business, and lastly, the actionable steps you need to take to scale your business effectively. This is literally a $10,000 scaling event system we're giving out right now, absolutely for free, and we're excited to go. So I'm telling you right now, if you're ready to scale your business up, do us a big favor and smash the like button and subscribe, and let's get into it.
Let's do it.
So effectively, if you're wanting to scale to $100,000 per month in real estate wholesaling, you got to understand one word, and that is delegation. Delegation is going to be the most important part, especially when it comes to scaling up your operations. And really, delegation means finding somebody who's doing your task in real estate wholesaling, hiring somebody to do that for you instead, and slowly just start stepping away from the business and have your employees running it, where you're effectively working 5, 6, 7, 8 hours a week, and you're running a really awesome business.
Yeah, I mean, this is a step that I took too late when I started in wholesaling. And a lot of you are going to be like me, is you just want to do everything. Well, I promise you, as you get better and better at what you do, you just can't do everything. You're just going to run out of time. So when you do delegation, if you've done the job, like I did it for 7 years before I even delegated it, and it was 5 years too late, and you actually get in this trap. So delegation is you have to give up that control and you have to empower people to make decisions. And here's the key is they're going to make mistakes, but you have to have a game plan with them, and you have to let them lead the way on running that department. Your job is to advise and follow up and keep up with their KPIs. Guys, you can't grow a company without delegation. Actually, there's no company that can do it. You can look at any Fortune 500 company. They all have employees, and you are no different.
And the thing is, when we talk about our systems today, this is not going to be the guru type system that you have a huge overhead, a big office. Guys, most gurus, coaches, influencers that are bragging doing $5-10 million a year in real estate wholesaling, they have 4 or 5 partners. Their net margins are 30%. So if you see a guy bragging with his Lambo and his watch, he's making $10 million a year in wholesaling, that's the gross. At his take home, they're taking $700 to $600K if they're lucky. And if your guru's claiming $5 million a year, they're making like $400K a year. We do not teach you how to run that business. We run a business where you're working 5 hours a week, netting 70% margins while you're still paying your people well. Remember, one bad hiccup, if you're making $400K a year net after all those margins and your overhead's $500K a month, one bad month, you could lose your entire profit for a year. And that's not what we teach. It's, guys, these gurus bring their problems onto you teaching that system. We're teaching the system that effectively helps you out for success. Without further ado, let's break down the business structure you need to be taking for real estate wholesaling. Here it is. This is our chart. This is the one that we recommend for you to follow. This is basically the hierarchy. We have you on the top, COO under you, marketing, acquisitions, and dispositions department. Now under marketing, we got the VA marketing manager, we got cold calling VAs, SMS VAs, list pulling VAs, any type of VAs that you're effectively using in your real estate wholesaling business to do your marketing. You want to have all the marketing be done from the marketing department here. Next year, we have acquisitions. Really, all you need is 1 to 3 acquisitions managers, depending on your business. And lastly is dispositions. Roughly 1 to 2 agents can be fine. And then we add a cash buyer VA under that. The next part here is how much do we pay our people? And at $100K a month wholesaling system, it is better to overpay your employees than to underpay. The rigmarole of constantly doing a revolving wheel when it comes to your employees, them leaving, you hiring a new one, hiring an acquisitions manager is probably going to be the most intense role you have to do. And constantly hiring new people is going to be the biggest bottleneck for your success. Remember, what is the biggest problem when it comes to scaling your operations, especially starting out? What do you do if your marketing VA stinks and you have to get a new one? What are you going to do in between that time? What are you going to do if you need a new acquisitions manager? This is why you need to pay your employees well, train them well, and understand how to manage them correctly. If you don't, you're going to be constantly doing a hiring, rehiring. It is not the process you want to be doing.
Now, and think about the cost. If you have somebody work with you 3 months, you spent 90 days training them, and then they tell you they're not happy and they're not being paid enough, you have to do it over and over again. And guys, I've been through this. You need to find quality people, and you have to pay them well because you think you're saving money by paying them less. If you have to keep retraining the same person over and over 3 to 4 times a year, you'll burn out, and that's going to cost you your business. So guys, delegation, it's important to get quality people and pay them well, because the longer they last, the more efficient they come and the more money you'll make.
So the biggest question is, Zach, how much do you pay your people? And the funniest part, when you go to these big events where they teach you systems and all this stuff for 5-10 grand, you ask them, how much do you pay your people? They're like, that's for you to decide. Like they don't really break it down. And I think it's kind of funny. They're all scared, because the problem is, once they reveal how much they pay their employees, you start figuring out that their margins are not as good as you think. So if you got one guy bragging about doing $5 million a year and he has a systems event and you ask him how much he pays his people, he won't tell you, because you're going to realize he's netting about $250,000 a year at the end of the day. And that doesn't make him look like a good guru. So that's the biggest secret on these scaling events. And we're not scared little gurus. We run really good margins. So let's break down exactly how much we pay our people. Our COO gets around 10% of the deal plus a base pay. On the marketing side, we have our VA marketing manager. They make about $50 per deal and around $200 a week. They manage the VAs. VAs roughly get about $25 an appointment, $40 per deal, and around maybe $4 to $5 an hour on like a base pay there. List pulling VAs are roughly just $6 an hour for what they do. Pretty efficient. They don't really even need any English skills per se. If they can understand it, they're fine. Our most expensive employee, hands down, is going to be the acquisitions manager. Our business, we do get the average margin 50, 60,000. So we do pay 10% of the deal. Trust me, if you have an acquisitions manager doing 2 to 3 deals a month, and if you have multiple ones, it makes more sense. They are plenty happy with that pay. Dispositions, roughly 1 to 2 agents. I would pay them around 8% of the deal. If you're doing lower margins, you're getting closer to 5%, but really 8% is the best if you're doing like a wholesale, you paying their commissions, all that stuff. That's what we prefer. And then the cash buyer VA is about $6 an hour, and we give them a crisp $20 bill for every qualified cash buyer they get. If they hustle enough, they should get at least 1 to 2 a single day, and they like getting paid like that. We like to pay them well, because if they get the good cash buyer, it's fine. They have the conversations and everything like that. So let's break down the actual process steps you have to do. Remember, guys, we're doing a speed route on here. This is 3 days. We're trying to condense into one video. Our entire process, like a lot more lengthwise, is at freewholesaling.com. If you really want to get the full scaling systems, we're going to go through exactly what you need to know exactly for scaling up right now. The systems, implementation. Let's get into it. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to write down effectively our real estate wholesaling operations currently and see, what do we do on a weekly basis? What list do you pull? What kind of skip tracing do you do? What type of government lists? What marketing, cold calling, postcards, all this stuff, your acquisitions, your dispositions, your entire week. I want you to set out exactly what you do, right? And then I want you to figure out what type of tasks can you hire first in the marketing side. And that's really what we're going to start doing. We slowly want to start hiring more and more people until we're out of the business, pretty much.
As far as finding these people to help you with the lower end tasks, so many of you are going to make the mistake of saying, I got to hire someone that's got the exact same skill sets and personality as me. And I'm here to tell you, you're not. So you are looking for a mini me, but I'm just telling you, finding someone like 50 to 60% of your capacity, that has to be your expectation. If you expect them to do exactly what you do with little to no experience or some experience, you're going to be disappointed. Find people that can follow instructions, that will follow a system, and you can follow up with KPIs, and you build it as you go. Remember, your first hires are on the lower entry level for marketing and sales activity. You just need to be consistent and to take action every day exactly as you tell them.
Exactly. And just remember, guys, would you rather get 6% of $5 million or 100% of $1 million, right? Effectively, that's the way you got to do it. They're going to be 60% effective as you, but they're going to be able to do a lot more deals because there's a lot more people, right? And at the end of the day, the economies of scale does work with it. I'm telling you right now, you need some money to start scaling out systems. This is not something you do absolutely from zero, but you got to make at least 100K per year before you do this. So number one, we got to understand, who do we hire here? Number one, we got to delegate the marketing. Remember, the first thing you got to do is delegate your least important task. This is usually list pulling and cold calling, right? And most likely this is going to be a VA for you.
Now we're going to go through the process of hiring. As we said, on the lower end jobs for like your VAs and stuff, using Upwork, onlinejobs.ph. Remember, these are services that target pre-vetted VAs, and you can kind of plug and play these people. You look for basic skill sets, and the most important thing you can look for, are they following your directions? Are they making appointments on time? Are they doing a small task you assign them to? Don't overthink it. Just do that. And listen, the pay range is going to be somewhere between 4 and 6. Just understand, like, don't be super cheap about it. Find the middle ground and set expectations for these people. So what you want to avoid is things like Fiverr and VA services. These are companies that try to focus and get your services. They have a system set, and you are trying to train these employees. You think you're saving time and money by doing this, but honestly, it's easier for you to take someone and teach them your particular systems because you're going to have to start it from scratch. So you don't want to pay this premium service. And guys, a special notice, you do not want to use VAs that market you heavily. It's never worked out in my experience. Just take this as a rule because they're good at like having everybody hire them and a lot of people fire them. A good VA is taken, and keep that in mind. Guys, when it comes to acquisitions manager, I'm here to tell you, to be honest with you, this is a job that you have to find someone in your local area, or even if you're doing it virtually, local's even better, is if they have the skill sets, meaning you run across them, their service was great, they were wonderful, and you said, if you're ever interested in a real estate career and maybe they're not happy where they're at, then these are what we call organic leads. And remember, if I reach out to someone now and they take 3 to 6 months, it's worth waiting. I find that all the Indeed and the online jobs is all they want is a paycheck, and they don't care if your business is successful. Find organic people, and remember, keep them in mind in the back of your head. So when something comes up, give them a card, give them a phone number, and if something changes, to have them contact you. You run enough organic people. Remember, you're looking for long-term acquisitions managers to keep your business running fluid and smooth.
So yes, it's not best to do that, but if you have to, you could use an Indeed. I know we're saying not to use it, but I'm telling you, organics is what we really want to focus on. If you have to, you can post a job online for a sales position, but heavily recommend you go for bartenders, used car salesmen or women, people that work in sales, realtors. You do not want to be posting jobs online for these people, but if you have to, you can. Salespeople that are used to knowing this is a sales job, it's going to be way better.
You know, dispositions, in my opinion, it's the easiest part to fill. Typically, we're going to look for realtors with previous experience that are either retired, they're kind of bored, and they kind of love the hustle and bustle of wheeling on deals. Remember, all they are is lining up your cash buyer with your deals, and we're paying them to get top dollar and expedite the transaction. And honestly, if they're a realtor, it kind of makes it even easier to pay them, although it doesn't matter, but you can pay them through commissions on the pay structure we showed you before. Guys, it doesn't take a lot of training, but we teach them how to use speed and get top dollar. And once you can match those two up, the disposition's a built-in realtor. I don't care if it's a male or a female, but it's like an easy job, and they're paid on the amount of volume they produce for profit for your company.
And the last one's the COO. When it comes to getting the COO, it's really going to be someone already in your business because COO is going to be the last hire. They're going to be the good implementer, not a visionary, but a good implementer. The last thing we tell you on who to hire, do not hire a failing wholesaler or a regular wholesaler or a visionary type person. A lot of them just want to suck the information and get out in a year and start wholesaling in your own market. You want to hire an employee, not someone who's looking to run their own wholesaling operation.
Yeah, it's critical that you have someone that's looking for a career. If someone's looking to just like be a wholesaler on their own, they're probably just going to take your information. They'll probably fail in the long run, and you're not doing them a favor by hiring them. Also, look for people with college degrees. They tend to conform to the ideas, and most of them are going to be career-minded.
This is our preferred order of hiring. Number one, it comes to marketing. For your first 1 to 3 months, basically scaling up from making 10K a month to 30K a month, get your marketing VAs, the list pulling, everything like that. Next, get the dispositions, maybe a transaction coordinator. They kind of do the same thing for you. About 3 to 6 months, you start hiring this. Once you start doing over 10 deals a month, this is where you really should be looking at. When it comes to acquisitions, 6 to 12 months is kind of the time frame for there. Then once you over a year, you scale to around 60, 70K a month. This is when you hire a COO.
And guys, keep in mind, steps 3 and 4 is basically replacing what you're currently doing at your highest and best use. And so there is a timetable to do this. This is how we recommend following it.
So how do you train your marketing people? So number one, the best way to train your marketing people is just having Zooms, creating like little courses, basically just on your phone of untitled YouTube videos. Really what you want to do with your training is have you do the marketing. You're recording it, showing your systems, your processes. So if, let's say, for example, when we were hiring someone to do the probate list in our county, what I did is screen recorded me pulling a probate list in my county, spent like 3 hours doing it, right? But I showed exactly how to do it. It's recorded. The video I did is from like 2018. We still use it, right? Because I spent 3 hours doing it effectively, and that's what we do. Here's the kicker, guys. Like, everyone's like, Zach, what do you do in your 5 hours in a week? If the probate changes or I'm doing like a new virtual market, I'll spend 2 hours creating a video on how to do it in there. because I want to show them effectively how to do it the right training. Because you do the video once and it's there, right? That's how we do with the marketing VAs. If I'm doing my cold calling, I'm gonna record myself cold calling, recording exactly how to do it, make training modules, and then still do personal Zooms with my marketing VAs. The thing is, you wanna do it effectively where if you have to hire somebody else, they can kind of go through the course that you created and then do little Zoom trainings from there and they're ready to go. Now, how to train your acquisitions. Now, that's a lot more intense. We recommend the 3-3-3 approach, 3 deals with the acquisitions manager where they watch me close 3 deals in front of them. Also, guys, we have a lot of recorded internal videos of me closing deals from virtual, a lot of me closing in-person deals recorded on my phone. We have those recordings still. So 3 deals in front of them, they actually watch you, they don't really say anything. 3 deals where they close with you like a 50-50 partner approach, and then 3 deals where that acquisitions manager closes a deal in front of you 3 times in a row. I know it's intense, I know that's a lot of training, but in our business, when we're making hundreds of thousands a month and our average deal is 40, 50K, I got to make sure my acquisitions manager can do $40,000 to $50,000 deals before I start unleashing all the leads with them. This brings us back to a part where we don't get really trained too much as entrepreneurs. Management, right? Management's definitely a work in progress. It's definitely a lot of experience we've had with it and a lot of mistakes we've made, right? So management is super important.
The management is, we all have a tendency to overmanage when we first do it.
Yeah.
And that's the fastest ticket to have all your employees walk out on you. You're going to have to give them instructions. Remember, you're going to give them your procedures if it's a recording or something, and simplify it. Keep in mind, we teach you the theory of how to build a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You know, there's over like 40 steps to do it. You and me think about it. We think there's like 3 or 4 steps. There's not. So if someone's never done it, you have to act like this is the first time they've ever done it. If you will simplify it and explain it in layman's terms, you'll have a much better result. You're going to have to delegate and trust your employees. And trust is a two-way street, but you're going to actually have to let them do a task, and before you auto-correct them, even though you know they're wrong, let them do it wrong. It's terrible. And then show them by leadership instead of scolding them how to do it correctly. And most importantly, when they do something, you have to trust them, but you have to verify it. That's what your KPIs are there. Trust has to be earned over time. So when you're recording live interactions with your sellers using the exactdollar.com,
So with our VAs, they understand all their calls are recorded. We actually kind of do some landmines in there where I'll put my personal cell phone in the cold calling list. So they think the next call could be the next Zach, and I put a fake name on it. And it's really funny because the VAs, they're on pins and needles when they're calling because they think it could be the boss next call. So they're always on edge. They're always making sure they're putting their best foot forward, and all their calls are recorded so we can actually listen in live. That's why we really like ZachDialer.com. Also with our acquisition staff, which is equally important, if we're going to postcard inbound call and the acquisitions manager is just like, hey, what do you want? It's all recorded and we can look at it. And when you spend tens of thousands a month in direct mail, you don't get 10,000 calls in. Like you'll get like 10, 15 a day, which your COO definitely can go through them all and just test them out and see what's going on. So it actually works out really well. And so when you're chugging along, you actually get your employees, you're ready to go. There's 4 types of meetings we recommend when it comes to your operations. These are daily meetings, weekly meetings, quarterly meetings, and yearly meetings. Daily meetings will be the COO and the team. Weekly meetings will be every single week going over the goals, quarterly meetings about the quarter goals, and then yearly about the yearly end goals.
And guys, keep in mind, you could do these meetings online. You can run this entire business virtually, which we recommend. So don't feel like you're going to be stuck in an office doing these meetings.
And the one thing I've always said, which we did this video a while back about exactly the secret to having success in wholesaling, and we always figure out the people that always get their first deal in wholesaling always have goals, right? Not I'm gonna go buy a Bugatti and a Lamborghini next year. No, like, hey, I'm gonna get my first deal in 2 months. I'm gonna cold call 1,000 times. Like a very, very realistic short goals that can be met and met and met. Saddening thing is when you have a crazy goal and you don't meet it, and then like disappointing yourself, right? If you just have smaller goals, you can know that are pushing you a little, but you can achieve. If you get like, for example, want to be 1% better every single day, very small, very doable, right?
Yeah.
And the cool part is over time that compounds like crazy. So be realistic with your goals, guys. Small growth in short times is what we recommend. Hey, I want to go from making $10,000 a month to $15,000 a month in the next quarter, right? So that's very attainable, right? Like you just have your acquisitions right, they're good time, you're going to be fine. Now going from, I want to go from 10,000 to 500K a month in 1 month. Guys, if you don't know the systems out, you're not going to do well. You got to focus also on profit over deals when it comes to goals for yourself, especially scaling up. I think the biggest pet peeve that we have is when a guru says, I did 20 deals this week. Your average margin buddy's $3,000 salary, right? And then we do an average $50,000, $60,000 a deal, and then we'll do like 5 to 10 of those a month, right?
Yeah.
It matters the profit, the net at the end of the day, not the amount of quote unquote deals you do.
Work smarter, not harder.
And so lastly, we always get asked, for our operations, what we recommend, the tools that you should be using. We love CallRail. When you're actually making a bigger system, CallRail does make sense. It's a tad expensive, but when you have all these marketing systems going, you want to test exactly what the calls come in, where the calls come from, zip codes, doing multiple virtual markets, CallRail is a must. We use all of our CRM through Podio. Everyone wants to give you this complicated $1,000 a month CRM. Keep it simple, guys. Podio is super important. We use Google Drive and Google Sheets like crazy. That's where we organize all of our lists. It's all on the drive. I cannot tell you how many Excel files we've had on computers that just got destroyed.
Crashed.
The power goes off and then the whole computer's screwed, and then your entire skip trace list you paid a fortune for is not on there. Email your marketing stuff to yourself so you at least have it in the cloud. ZachDialer.com for the cold calling. ZachData.com for skip tracing, SMS text blasting, and our cash buyer data. And ListREI.com for pulling lists, pre-probates, zombie properties. Our entire postcard lists are for ListREI.com. Plus, when we have people drawing $4 for us, we use the ListREI.com PropStream app, which comes with it for free. Mm-hmm. Our biggest marketing piece is on MailingMastery.com. That is our entire postcard system we give for free. Our government websites for property appraiser, all that good information. We get the probates and stuff. And then lastly, for comping, we do use ZachData.com, ListREI.com for comping, but nothing beats the good old MLS for comping, right, and finding cash buyers. So we do have access to that. We're not going to break down too much for it, but we do use that a lot. If you can get access to it, it is a big must. And lastly, and probably one of the most important parts when you get going and you're running the operations. Remember, guys, we want to slowly hire out the tasks until we're out of this business, right? Start focusing, especially when it comes to scaling out, adding more lists and more systems to your operation. So if you're a one-man operation, you can only cold call probates, government lists, right? And you start hiring people. This is where you can start hiring someone to do the high equity list for cold calling, right? They can start calling the pre-probate, start calling the arrest records, right? The fire damage properties. This is why you have list pulling VA, so they can start pulling more lists. You talk to more sellers. At the end of the game, guys, the key to scaling is having the employees ready. But really simple formula is increase the marketing and then make sure you have the systems out there to handle the leads.
You don't want to outstrip your marketing ability, where you get more leads and you don't have enough people to follow up with them. So you definitely want to scale this in a responsible way.
And what we found a lot is always experimenting, right? Mm-hmm. Like one thing we always did was we added SMS text blasting in 2018 because like you didn't really know what it was. It was kind of new. Like we didn't know too much. Start experimenting in it and we're like, dang, the probates suck for SMS text blasting. Yeah. But guess what? If we do a lot of SMS text blasting with like a code violation list, it does really well, right? And it takes some tweaking. But the more we experiment, maybe we do 10 things we experiment, only 2 of them work. Then we go hard on the 2, right? And that gives us the best success. And nobody knows what's going to work, right? We don't know what hits and what doesn't. When we did probate letters, that hit, right? And we didn't know what didn't hit. So always experiment with your marketing. Your marketing is going to be the most important. Don't experiment really with the acquisitions. That stuff works. Remember, guys, go to freewholesaling.com for acquisition scripts and everything like that, and our marketing sources.
And understand, some of your experimenting, like what works in my market, it's probably going to be different for your market. Yeah. So you have to do some local testing to really dial it in. You can use an overall template, but you're still going to have to dial it in locally with your marketing.
And probably the biggest lesson we can tell you is it doesn't matter how much money you're making, never stop marketing. That is 100% true. Never stop marketing your operations. Always market. Make a time budget and a money budget of your marketing and your operations. How much time are people going to be spending per month doing this, and how much money we're spending. Hey, schedule out your marketing sheets and your stuff months and months and quarters out so you never have to stop with it. It's like working out. Make a workout schedule and stick to it. There's going to be good days and bad days in this business, right? Mm-hmm. Not everything's going to be 100% up. But just understand that not everything's going to be perfect. There's going to be growing pains in this business. I think one big disclaimer we can always give is when you're scaling, you're going to make less money in the first 3 months because you're teaching people. They're sucking up your time. You're going to have to pay these people and they're not really producing. It takes months for them to start producing, but eventually the fruits of your labor start ripening. And then the last 2 I'd have you do is your employees are humans, and find out what drives your employees.
Your employees are humans. They are not robots. They are not automated machines, although we would love that. But they have issues. As long as they perform and they're helping you grow and really manage your business, you're going to have some bumps along the way, sick days, health issues, but just to understand they're human. I had a hard time getting over this. I wanted them all to be automated, and it's easy to say, hey, I'm just paying you, got to show up, but make sure there's incentives for them to have fun at work. So we always talk about wholesaling, making it fun. You got to make it fun for your employees because they're not going to work for you. I don't care what you pay for them if you're constantly mandating to them and you're not fun. What you want to do is we always talk about finding out your why. So it's important you find out what your employees' why is. Find out why they're working for you. Like some of them just like, listen, I just love real estate investing and I want to be around it. I want to be enthralled in it. That's great. Some like the freedom of like having the autonomy to make decisions because they work for like a smaller company. But find out what it is, because if you don't know what drives your employees, you're never going to keep them in the long term. Guys, these are humans. You want to know what your why is. You got to know what your employees' why is. This is going to help you have an incredibly successful wholesaling scaling event.
So guys, at the end of the day, this is your action plan. Make a list of what your daily and weekly activities are for wholesaling real estate. List them out, see what can be delegated first, and start delegating it, guys. I'm telling you right now, this is the perfect time to start scaling up your operations. It is a 1 to 3 month operation, then a 3 to 6, then 6 to 12. Don't feel like you have to go from 100K to $1 million in less than a month. It takes time, but eventually it is worth it. This is literally $10,000 on a 3-day boot camp, yacht seminar, whatever guru type thing we just gave out for free. If you want to find out our exact systems of how we do our lists, our cold calling scripts, how we do our acquisitions, how we train our acquisitions, us closing deals, dispositions, everything, do us a huge favor. Go to freewholesaling.com. It is the largest wholesaling mentorship in the entire world, and it's free. And we teach this business absolutely for free, guys. Do me a big favor and smash that like button and subscribe if you got any value. And hopefully we'll see you scale up your operations. This is Zach Ginn signing out.
Rick Ginn signing out.
We'll see you guys soon. Have a blessed one.
See you.